Oh, sorry. I was just getting so involved in that music. What's going on Sunday morning? Sunday. Hey, we can't lose today. Well, technically, we probably could. we could screw up the draft. We got Giants man Mengar in the room saying, let's get it started. We got Zach Attack dropping and going, Giants only need a quarterback, interior offensive lineman, an edge, and a new owner, possibly a corner, potentially a safety, potentially a safety as well. And maybe if you move Evan Neal, you're going to need a tackle. Oh, we're gonna talk about the draft. We're gonna talk about Joe Schoen.
Come on, Tom, say it with me, you pancake-eating motherfucker.
Hopefully Joe Schoen can get it right. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears, and it looks like what they're going to be doing with that first overall pick. We're going to be talking about Daniel Jones and his contract and the epiphany some giant content creators are finally having that this was a bad contract. This was a bad deal. Only took him how many years? We're also going to talk about some people going back to college, like Cam Ward's going back in the he's transferred, so he's not going to come out for the draft. We also have Big Blue going, let's go Giants on the draft. Hirsch for real in his house going, what's up? What's going on, Tim? What's good? We're also going to talk about the streaming service Peacock. Considering, I don't know, did anyone actually get to see the Kansas City game? I'm kind of glad I didn't because I really don't feel like seeing Taylor Swift. We got OGR coming in. So Lex Luthor is here. What's up, Tim, in the chat? We got Chris going, good morning, Tim. What's going on? Everything's going on. We got how great was CJ versus the Browns? Fun game. CJ Stroud was the epitome of what a bad franchise who was in the doldrums for a couple of years because of their quarterback situation. What happened when they upgraded the talent a little bit, but upgraded the quarterback position a lot. If you think Nico Collins is Jerry Rice, you're a little confused there. And technically, CJ is missing 3 of his top targets who vis-a-vis due to injury. And what they did to the Cleveland Browns defense is not a slouch of a defense, but what they did to the Cleveland Browns shows what will happen. Wait a minute. If you have a quarterback, it's literally the epitome of what will happen if you have a quarterback. Good morning, Patrick. What's going on? Hirsch for real says this will make or break Shane this draft. It's draft day. It's Kevin Costner. This is the make or break. This is Sonny Weaver's make or break draft. I laugh because I've never seen the movie. Dom and I talk about this movie, I don't know, ad nauseum, but we have actually never seen it. And we joke about it that we've only seen snippets of it. Which makes it even funnier. Chris says, have no faith in Shane getting it right. You got to have some faith in Shane. We really do, because I don't know if you watched the video on Friday, I broke down the roster. I broke down the rooster. And there's about 35 guys under contract. And out of those 35 guys, I could literally pick 10, which I would say would be first stringers. Not even first stringers, higher potential first stringers and higher quality NFL talent. 10. We found 10 guys. You need 22 to field the roster, and one of those guys was Graham Gano. So, and some of the guys were question marks. I had Kayvon Thibodeau on the list, but I also have Kayvon Thibodeau as a question mark because there's a lot of things that we see about Kayvon Thibodeau we don't want to talk about. There's a lot of things that he does that certain segments of the fan base they just don't want to mention, because if you literally mention some of the things you actually see Kayvon doing, it makes you cringe a little bit.
I was never wrong about Kayvon. Just ask WFAN.
There are so many things that you can like about Kayvon's game, but over those last 6 weeks, there's so many things you don't like. And the fact that the majority of his sacks came in 3 games, we're going to talk about that. But I want to get to everyone. Michael says time to trade up for a quarterback. Franchise Barkley. Do you franchise Barkley? Do you franchise Xavier McKinney? Do you let Isaiah Simmons walk because of the fact that Isaiah Simmons, while he was okay, Isaiah Simmons was okay. Everyone has this great feeling for Isaiah Simmons, but we also don't want to talk about the fact that he missed 8 tackles. Right, it was 8 or 9. I can't remember exactly. I think it was 8 or 9. He missed 8 or 9 tackles this year. His coverage skills were what the Giants had him for. His run stopping ability wasn't that great in reference to Isaiah Simmons. So that's the question. Do you franchise? And I think if you franchise Barkley again, I think Barkley sits out. So you really don't want to waste that franchise tag. And then also, do you want to have almost $12 million tied up into a running back for a 1-year deal? When technically you only have about 40 million in cap space because you have 4 guys that are making your cap top heavy. The smart thing to do, and it's really not a smart thing to do, would be to restructure Daniel Jones's contract. But the problem is you don't want to push that money out in the 2025 because you already have a $20+ million dead cap number if you get rid of him in 2025. So what are you going to do? Push out another 30 million and then hope that year 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hope year 6 is the year he turns it around. Zacatech says, OGR Sports, any insight on the Giants? Rocket Man, because I'm a Rocket Man. Crazy how Houston turned the franchise around so quickly because it's amazing. I remember standing in the Giants locker room during the draft because we broadcasted live from their locker room. I don't know if anyone, those that missed the draft live stream. I broadcasted live from the Giants locker room. And I remember sitting there with Swing Culture TV and Big El Gigante. And when they picked CJ Stroud, all of us said, this is a great pick. It was the Stroud Bryce Young pick. And I think all 3 of us agreed that CJ, even though he was an Ohio State quarterback, was going to be the best of the 2 immediately. Yeah, he was the most pro ready. Did we perceive this? And also Will Anderson was a great pick. But did we perceive that he was going to go and do what he did? No. Didn't see that one coming a mile away. But we knew he was going to make Houston better. Patrick, because I didn't know her Peacock. I didn't watch the game. The NFL only got $110 million to put that game on Peacock. That's it. How much did you piss off your fan base outside of Miami and Kansas City? Because only outside the local viewing areas did you not get to see the game. Rocket Man says, just proves how valuable the quarterback is valuable. 100%. Zacatech says that was awful. Hirschfield says, I don't have Peacock anymore. I'm married.
That's what she said.
We're going to give you a 2 for 2 for that one, Hirsch. Rocket Man says, DJ doesn't elevate a game. He's at best a game manager. I don't even think he's a game manager. I don't even think that. Richard said, what's up? What's up? Timothy, what's up, Timothy? Good morning. Good Sunday. Zacatech also comes in with, the Peacock game was awful. Missed the plays and missed the snaps. Bad graphics. From what I'm hearing about the Peacock game, it was not a good game to watch. It was just not a good game. Oh, let's see. It's Kayvon. What are we going to do with Kayvon? I mean, seriously. I mean, can we think about this for a second?
Hey kids, look over there. Who is it? It's Kayvon, the friendly pass rusher. Oh no, now he's gone.
I mean, Kayvon, like I said, you want to like him, you want to root for him because, like I said, he's boisterous, he's loud, he's giving you all those things that you want to see, and then you look at it and you see some of the things he does, and you just kind of scratch your head and you're like, what's going on here? I mean, literally, think about it for a second. He was tied for, I think, 12th with sacks. He did have 3 forced fumbles. He only had 25. He only had 25 tackles, which was 45th for his position, and he only had 11 assists. So he had 36 tackles. And I love it because someone sent me his Pro Football Focus ranking because you know how much we love Pro Football Focus. He's a 58, which is below average. He only had 27 pressures, and he had 44 pressures, but he only had 27 hurries and 4 quarterback hits. Does anyone see an issue here? The majority of the times he played 520 pass rushing snaps compared to also 377 run defensive snaps. So the majority of his snaps came as a pass rusher. Kayvon Thibodeau. Those were the majority of his. That's what the majority, and his pass rusher win percentage according to Zach, because we did talk about this, was one of the lowest in the league. So his pass rush win percentage was one of the lowest in the league. He didn't really make an impact on the running game. And the majority of his sacks came in the majority of his 11.5 sacks came in 3 games. And those 3 games were Seattle, where he had a sack in the beginning of the game, at the end of the game, the Jets, which the Giants lost, and the Commanders game. Because think about this. This is what I want to talk about, Kevin, just for a second. It's 11.5 sacks. So he had 2 sacks against Seattle, 3 against the Jets, and 2 against the Commanders. He had, okay, now wait for this. He had 0 sacks against the Eagles, the Rams, the Eagles, the Saints. He had a half a sack versus the Packers, a half a sack versus the Patriots, none against the Raiders, none against the Bills, 1 against the 49ers, none against the Cardinals, none against the Cowboys. I don't see where this great season is. I really don't. And people that love statistics, everyone wants to talk statistics. Let's talk stats. Okay, let's talk stats. Let's do that. Because everyone says to me, well, stats proves everything. A lot of people say, well, stats will prove everything. Okay. He's last in the league in pass rush win percentage. That's not good. That's not a good stat. He had the majority of stats in 3 games. He ranked in his position in solo tackles 45th in the league, in assists 33rd, and positionally, yes, he did rank, I believe, 12th or 13th in reference to sacks. And he had 5. He had how much? Almost 33% more pass rushing snaps than he did defensive snaps, and he only had 897 snaps. So. I mean, you can hate what the guy said on WFAN. Carl Banks can defend Kayvon.
I'll defend Kayvon forever.
But the problem is, if you look at what he did, it's not something we're looking at Insight going, oh yeah, well he had such a great season. That's why I put him on the question list. Okay, Vaughn says Patrick. Graham Gano is a giant legend. Brazen says, Timmer, I look for big change in the personnel. Giant fans got a whole. Oh my God. Can we go into the offensive line coach for a minute? I'm not bashing Cam. I'm not bashing Carbon. I'm not bashing him. It's every guy the Giants bring in on the offensive line is the greatest coach. I remember getting Mark Colombo. And every Giant fan telling me he's going to be a great coach. My question was, because I'm a dumbass, because I ask questions. I said, is he awesome because of the fact that he's an awesome coach or because of the talent that they had in Dallas? Everyone loved Bobby Johnson after the dirtbag comment. Glowinski, he's a dirtbag. Britison, he's a dirtbag. Everyone loved Bobby Johnson. They only gave up 45 sacks 2 years ago. Then they gave up the 80 whatever this year. And they added a rookie center. They had injuries. I'm going to talk about Justin Pugh. I know I'm all over the place, but I got to talk about Justin Pugh for a second, too. Justin Pugh came out on Twitter and said, trading up for a quarterback doesn't work. When's the last time that trading up for a quarterback worked? I don't know, Justin. There's some Eli Manning guy. I don't know the hell he is. Some Josh Allen. There's some guy named Mahomes. I don't know him. Lamar Jackson. Jared Goff. I think he's in the playoffs too. Michael Vick. Trade up to get Vick. It never works. Never works out. And then I love because I posted that on Twitter and someone goes to me, so you don't understand the fact that Buffalo and Kansas City would have traded up the number 1 pick to get those guys. Oh my God. This is what makes my head hurt about Twitter. Really, they were going to trade up to the number 1 pick to take these guys, to take Holmes or Allen, even though none of them were ranked as a number 1 prospect. I'm going to give up my day job to become a heartthrob. Zacatech says, I like Simmons, but he's a rotational player at best. DJ, I agree. DJ ain't turning it around. Ain't my type of hype, baby. You and me together. You look so good. You look so good. Ain't my type of hype. Ain't my type of. Oh. Sorry. Do you have sex or do you make love? Let's see. Timothy says, Tim, should the Giants switch the defense back to a 4-3 with 2 defense ends, defensive tackles, 3 linebackers, 2 corners, and 2 safeties? Well, that would be a 4-3. No. You don't have. Well, first of all, you have to make a decision on Kayvon. If he's going to be a hand in the dirt lineman, or if he is going to be a linebacker, an outside linebacker, because he's not an inside linebacker. And if you do that, then you're going to need to find a true pass rushing defensive end on the other side. You're going to have to figure out outside of Dexter Lawrence if you're going to bring back someone like Ashawn, or if DJ Davidson or Jordan Riley can even fit the bill. Then you have, unless you're going to bring back Isaiah Simmons and make him a linebacker, then you really don't have a Bobby Okereke. But then if you bring in Simmons to linebacker, you let Xavier McKinney go. Who's going to be your safeties outside of Pinnock? Don't anyone say Dane Belton. If you say Dane Belton, you will get wonkered. I'm not in the mood this morning. I had a long night. Not in the mood this morning. Jaden Daniels can be our CJ Stroud. Cam Ward's going back to school. I'm starting to look, someone kept mentioning Cam Ward. So I started looking at Cam Ward. Then the motherfucker goes back to college. OGR says, yeah, my insight is what it is. We have no choice but to get one. Yes, we need to, like I said, this is draft day. This is Sonny Weaver. We have to make the move. We're going to talk about Chicago Bears, who are basically the Seattle Seahawks.
Come on, Tom, say it with me, you pancake-eating motherfucker.
I'm actually going to watch that movie one day. Blazin says, DJ will only turn around if he's doing the hokey pokey. Turn yourself around. Well, that's what it is all about. Oh, my God. There's something seriously wrong with me. Guilty said, DeVito ain't turning. No, Danny DeVito ain't turning shit around. Danny, we're better off getting we're better off getting Danny DeVito. Tommy DeVito is still trying to sell his autographs. It's kind of sad. You had your Jeremy Lin 3 minutes of fame, and you're still out there trying to sell autographs as the Giants quarterback. Pimp names like Justin Pugh is arguing with fans on Twitter saying we don't need it. Yeah, we just talked about that, Pimp. Or maybe I'm late on the chat. Yeah. Because he said it's never really worked out, except for that Eli Manning guy, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, Michael Vick. I don't know. Big Mike says, agree, CJ Stroud showed us why the Giants need to leverage their assets and go out and get one of the top quarterbacks. Dable is such a genius, the team should make the playoffs. 100%. If Dable is this offensive genius, if Dable is this offensive guru, Dable and Kafka are Batman and Boy Wonder. They should be able to go out, get a quarterback like Caleb Williams, and turn this all around. In a very short period of time. It's not that difficult.
Who you see tonight? What fight? Have you seen the light? Yes! Jesus H. goddamn Christ! I have seen the light!
That's what they should do. That should be happening right now in the Giants' offices. That's what should be going on. Game manager, he is not. Oh, we got big old James in the chat. We're going to have James on a little bit later if he's going to be around. Salute to the chat. We got Hershey going, hey, James. What's going on, James? Chris says, CJ Stroud looked like a seasoned veteran yesterday. Love watching him play. Interact with the sidelines. Texans hit a home run. Texans, they smashed it out. I mean, they literally cranked it out of the park. Did anyone think, and of course there are always going to be people say, I knew he was going to be that good. Did anyone really think he was going to be this good and do what he's been doing for the Texans? No. But you knew he was going to be special. You could see that he was going to be special. But and like I said, there was it almost reminded me of the Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf debate. You had the CJ camps, you had the Bryce Young camp. Like I said, when we were standing in that locker room during the draft, it was Swim Culture TV, Big Al, and myself. We were watching the draft. You can go back and watch the video because we talk about it. We were all on the CJ Stroud boat. But to this extent, I mean this was a turnaround. D'Amico Ryans, what a turnaround. Patrick says Kayvon is my favorite subject to talk about. Let's give him something to talk about. Oh, Kayvon. Zach says that put Kayvon on the bench, make him a rotational player. You can't. You took him 5th overall. Then you got the 7th pick in Evan Neal, who people think are a dud. But the problem is this is what cracks me. This is what cracks me about the whole Evan Neal debate about how terrible he is. Everyone loves Justin Pugh. Everyone loves Justin Pugh because it's the whole thing. Justin Pugh off the couch. Once he said that, he made himself a folk hero in Giants lore. He played in 763 snaps and gave up 8 sacks, which is tied for first for his position. Plus, he had 5 penalties. He had one. I mean, he played 236 snaps at left tackle, 527 at guard. He had 473 pass blocking snaps. He allowed 37 pressures, 2 quarterback hits, 8 sacks, and 5 penalties. And 5 penalties left. But for some reason, he was better than Evan Neal, and he helped solidify the offensive line. And I'm saying Evan Neal's that great, but Evan Neal only gave up 2 quarterback sacks and 5 hits allowed in 460 snaps. But for some reason, Justin Pugh, because he's off the couch, was awesome. There's always these polls about the Giants fan base being the stupidest. You want to argue? You really want to argue? Then you go on Twitter. Patrick says Kayvon is the anti-Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley works hard. Saquon Barkley runs his mouth a little bit because he wants to get paid, but Saquon Barkley has been a prototypical Giant. Let's see. Timothy says Tibbs has a breakout year with 11 sacks. He didn't have a breakout year. He had 7 of his sacks in 3 games. We talked about 7 other games when he did nothing. No sacks, no tackles, nothing. The last 6 games of the season, he was a no-show. He was literally a no-show. Do we need to address this again? Do we need to go through this again? I think we do. I'm not getting it. I wish I was getting this. I really do. But let's think about this for a second. Eagles, no sacks. Rams, no sacks. The New England game, no sacks. Half a sack in Green Bay. Half a sack in half a sack in New England. 2 sacks against Washington. No sacks against Vegas. 3 sacks in Washington. No sacks against Buffalo. 1 against Miami. 2 against Seattle, which was at the beginning of the game, at the end of the game, and none against San Francisco and none against Dallas. Yeah, that's he is Aaron Donald-esque. I know they're different positions. OGR Sports, what's going on? Tibbs plays slow and struggles again. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to leave that up. That's going to be my thumbnail for every video. He got blocked by a quarterback. And he was almost like, holy shit. I didn't know Jalen Hurts could block like this. Blazin says Texas GM is making Bill Belichick eat crow with a witty count. Oh, I agree. Hurts Real says Tibbs can be our Strahan only if we find our OC. I don't even think he could be our Strahan. That is a slap against Strahan to even consider them on the same levels. Let's see here. Kayvon, 18 tackles for loss in careers. Freaking 18 tackles for loss. 18 in his career. Tibbs keeps getting no help with the pass rush is an issue. Here's the problem, Hirsch, and I love you, brother. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to tell you about the problem is I've watched Kayvon get manhandled by a tight end. I watched plays go away from Kayvon's side. Kayvon run and then literally stop running and do this. We talk about the play. I think it was the Washington game that the play went past Kayvon. He missed. And the running back was maybe like 3 yards away from Kayvon. And Pinnock was in front of going to make the tackle. I don't remember if he made the tackle or not. Kayvon was running towards the play. He saw him past him, and he stopped. He stopped running. He just stopped. He stopped running and stood there. That's not heart, motherfucker. And I'm not calling you heart. But I'm just saying that's not heart. That's not heart. Yes, I can imagine them because he actually played well. Coaching is being used as a scapegoat for Tibbs' lack of production. Yeah, everyone's talking about Andre Patterson. What a great job he's done with Dexter Lawrence. What about Kayvon Thibodeau? What about the rest of the line? What about DJ Davidson? What about Jordan Riley? What about Ashawn Robinson? What about all these guys that we're just giving up chunks and chunks up in the middle of the field? Chris says, I would love to trade into Kayvon during the draft. Get something. No, you can't. It's your salary is going to preclude you from trading. People also forget we have a $10 million dead cap number just for the trade for Leonard Williams next year. We already have $11 million in dead cap space. It's the Captain Matumbo. It's 9 a.m., 9 p.m. I don't know where you're at. I can't see the flag. OGR said, Sam, you need to become a ventriloquist and get yourself a Carl Banks doll. I'm actually thinking about making a Carl Banks bobblehead because you can make bobbleheads. I'm actually thinking about making one for the show. I got some new stuff lying around. I don't know where it is, but I got some new stuff that I'm going to have to start using on the show. OGR needs to rebuttal Justin Pugh. I guess Pugh's intelligence went the same way his talent did. That was a good one. Tim, and these old school songs, I love old school songs. I love it because people are like, well, that's from House Party. I'm like, no, that's from Full Force. Of course, yes, they were in House Party, but they had other songs. But Ain't My Type Pipe is just an awesome song. Dane Belton will be the safety for the scout team. Dane Belton is smoke and mirrors were yes, Dane Belton, like I said, Dane Belton, you got to love Dane Belton. Dane Belton got benched in the Texan game 2 years ago, never saw the field. Dane Belton basically never saw the field until Jason Pinnock got hurt. Dane Belton was gifted 2 interceptions by Matthew Stafford, but then proceeded to be one of the focal points of giving up 3 touchdowns that game. Dane Belton, the last game of the season, people are like, well, look how well he's playing, but then he proceeded to give up another touchdown to the third stringers for the Eagles. Yeah, he's going to be around. Let's see here. James, that's why Kayvon is the friendly ghost. He is the friendly. Kayvon is the friendly pass rusher. Like I said, that sound effects was for the birthday of James Williams.
Hey kids, look over there. Who is it? It's Kayvon, the friendly pass rusher. Oh no, now he's gone.
Now we got Big Todd gifting some more memberships to the OG Club. Make sure you get all your videos early. Make sure you check that out when you get the videos. I always like pumping out stuff early, so I like getting and if you are part of it, you do watch the video early, please leave a comment, because I like to know some comments before the video even hits. And thank you for the Big Don, as always. Ain't my type of hype, baby. You and me together. Do you look good at your age, not just your pants size, baby? What's going on, Mr. McCormick? We got Blaze said the top 3 quarterbacks will be gone before we draft. Yeah, because we won 3 meaningless games. Don't worry, it's all going to be good. But you can still trade up. You need to. This is draft day. This is Sonny Weaver. This is Bo Callahan. But he's Bo Callahan with more talent.
Come on, Tom, say it with me, you pancake-eating motherfucker.
What's up, Mr. Sanders? Good morning, Tim. Davies says, so you think Joe Schoen is going to trade 3 first-round picks to get Bo Callahan? Well, only if he could trade his 3 over to Seattle. So that'll be just as good. We also have the big old, because he knows I love him. He knows I love him. We got the big old sticker to the Don helping out the kids. As always, I love the super stickers. I love the super stickers. And I love Big Don. Everyone knows that. Big Don is such a supporter of the show. A lot of people are such supporters of the show. We got the T, and that's why I love everyone. We got the T Brad in the house. Justin Pugh almost got him killed. C Sanders says, what quarterback will be available in the second round? Because I have this weird feeling we won't pick one in the first round. Well, you're probably going to get J.J. McCarthy in the second round. You know, it's funny that Penix and Caleb they're talking about falling. I really don't see it. And then you think to yourself, is this one of those things that it's just coming out now that that people are looking at it and they're kind of like, hey, listen, maybe some of these quarterbacks are falling for a reason. You also have some people saying that people like New England, that New England's not going to take a quarterback, that they're going to go with the second round with like a Bo Nix or a JJ McCarthy. To me, a JJ McCarthy is a what you call it, is the quarterback that should go to New England. I still wonder if like the likes of Drake May is going to go over to Washington. And then I wonder also, like I said, if New England doesn't take a quarterback, I mean, do they take a wide receiver? And people keep telling me, we got to get Joe Alt. We got to get Big Joe. I think Joe's going to Arizona, if you want to be honest. I still think the pick for the Giants is Jaden Daniels. I really do now. I'm starting to think, if you can't go up and get Bo Callahan, a.k.a. Caleb Williams, I kind of think that the pick has to be Jaden Daniels. And it's not like I'm faulting Penix. Not like I'm saying that Penix isn't going to be a good quarterback. I'm not going to take that bowl game as the harbinger of doom for Penix, because Penix did what he could do. Michigan was just a superior team, and Washington's defense gave up those big runs. It's a different the game without those huge runs would have been totally different, because it was a close game with those runs. It's just the defense of Michigan was stifling. They figured out the perfect game plan for a perfect day against Washington. So I'm not against Penix, but I just think if you're looking for something dynamic, you're looking for something electric, if you're looking for a CJ Stroud who can run, it's going to be Jaden Daniels. Davey says, Kayvon and Evan Neal remind me of when the Colts got Steve Ettman. Oh God. Yes. I remember when they got Steve Ettman, the defensive lineman, and then the linebacker Quentin. Yeah. Corey. I don't remember. It's Quentin something. Yeah. I remember that. That was going to be the big turnaround building block draft, and both of them were out of the league in like a couple years. Pew got Tommy and them killed. We got the T-Brad, king of the almost sack, just for you.
King of the almost sack.
We got Stu saying good morning to you. We got Matthew in the house going, Tim, what's up? And OBB family. Everything's going good, guys. Let's see. Matthew says, do you feel we have a decent chance of getting a new quarterback? I know there's this talk, the speculation, if you will, that the Giants are going to run it back with Daniel Jones, that they believe he's the quarterback. Here's my problem. If you believe he's the quarterback, is he the quarterback for one more year? Because then you got to figure out what you're going to do with him in 2025. And the 2025 draft is not looking spectacular for quarterbacks. You got some guys I thought were coming out this year that are going to go in the 2025 because they're probably looking at the quarterbacks ahead of them like, well, shit, I'm not going in the first round. I got a better opportunity going into the 2025 draft. To me, it's like a Mitchell Trubisky thing. Mitchell Trubisky was the best quarterback in a bad quarterback draft. He did make the playoffs. He did throw, I think, for 4,000 yards. But it's Mitchell Trubisky equals. No, actually, Daniel Jones wish you could equal Mitchell Trubisky. Mike Glenn says, Barkley was always quiet and a company guy until the Giants backed up the Brinks truck and to pay a quarterback and them not wanting to pay him. I love it when he made the comment, Barkley did, that he was like, are you going to go to your end of the year interview? At the end of every NFL season, they do it in the NBA as well. You have basically an exit interview with the coaching staff and the general manager. The majority of the players do. And they asked Barkley if he was going to go to his. He's like, no. No. He's like, I've been there, done that. I'm going to let my agent handle the rest. He's so disenchanted. You can see that he's just disenchanted with the franchise. And do you really want a guy there? Because you're not going to pay him. You are going to franchise him again, piss him off. You franchise him unless you're going to then, unless you put the transition tag on Xavier McKinney, but I still think someone will sign him. You are going to piss him off even more and potentially lose a safety, which you may not even want back. And I don't know what Shane's problem is with Xavier McKinney. All he does is play 100% of the snaps of the defense. Blazin says we are on the East Coast, ate oatmeal and grits growing up. Kayvon ate quinoa and tofu. I don't like any of those. You're right. OG is in his house. You know what his prediction is? Pain. Let's see here. Kayvon was playing two-hand touch on Hurts. He really was. Is it two-hand touch or was it more patty cake? That's kind of my question. Was he playing two-hand touch or patty cake? I think he was more playing keep away. He was doing one of those things that when people don't want to fight. That's kind of what he was doing in my mind. Let's see. I'm dying here. Let's see. You are the best around. Nothing gonna stop us now. You're the best around. Nothing is gonna stop us now. That's of course from Karate Kid. Let's see here. OG says, I feel like the Giants are going to get it wrong draft the coming draft. Caleb is really dropping. I don't know if he's really dropping. I wonder. Antonio Weaver says, what the hell is going on? If yesterday's doesn't show you need a quarterback, I don't know what the else the Giants fan can do. You really just don't. We got the super stickers from C. Sanders, because I love super stickers. Mr. Sanders in the house. I love stickers. I don't know why. I've loved stickers since I was a kid. They are awesome. And thank you as always. We also have the big, I love the picture of LT. That's when he's sitting on his helmet. There's a picture of him sitting on the helmet before the Super Bowl in 90. I got it somewhere in my office. We got Eric coming to the big old super chat. Draft a quarterback in 2024, then 3 offensive linemen. I think you have to go out and find a free agent offensive lineman. I really do. You got to get some free agent ones. You have to. No more drafting. Hey, Tim, can I join the stream? Don, what kind of question is that? Copy. Link. Post. Don. On. That's Don. That's like saying, can I breathe? Yes. Oh, God. OG says, I can't wait for another season of Daniel Jones. We all know nothing's going to change. Daniel Jones has to be one of the worst picks in Giant history. I'm going to go with Eric Moore. I'm looking at Don. I don't know what that is, Don. I don't know what that is, man. You got to fix your camera. Jones proved this year he isn't the guy. Mara can't. Oh, he's in the car. That's where he's at. He's in the car. You're not supposed to be in the car driving and talking. Well, I'm gonna. What are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm at work, so I finally have time while I'm driving to my next destination. And I was like, you know what? I ain't talked to Tim some darn near the draft.
I know.
Like it's time, and it's really funny because, like you said, X or Twitter is really toxic. The giant Facebook groups are even more toxic because.
Hold on. I have not gone on the Twitter groups.
Yeah, those are. Yeah, here's my thing. Here's my thing, Tim. As soon as you said my boy Barkley, it's funny, Tim. We talked about it last year after the draft, and everybody was talking about, Barkley's going to get paid too much. They don't need him. Daniel Jones is going to be doing everything. We got the best Eric Gray. He's going to be the next Ahmad Bradshaw. Who was the other running back we got from the Niners?
Matt Breida.
Breida, we got him. Who needs Barkley? Yeah, okay. We see exactly how this team is. We see exactly how this team is. So now the question goes, okay, hopefully Barkley goes somewhere else because he's just unappreciated. I love the guy. He's been a team player, like you said. He's been the corporate man. He's been doing everything he's supposed to. He's been the Giant way, everything that you want, basically. And he's just being pooped on. And I'm like, okay, let him go. Now, what's the next phase here? Because who's going to be our starting running back? And are they going to draft one? Like, there's too many questions at the running back position after that then. Quarterback, question mark. Running back, bigger question mark. Guards, big question marks. Like, the offense is just looking like, I don't even know. What are we looking like?
We're looking bad.
Oh, my gosh.
We're not looking good.
No, we're not even looking like a practice squad team at this point. Like, this is how bad it's really looking. We're going to look like a darn replacement league team with nobody really being able to play because we can't afford nobody with the cap.
Well, we have about $38 million right now with 36 players under contract. We have $11 million in dead cap space. We have a $6 million rollover. Cap's not going up as much as anticipated, and you got 4 guys eating up almost 38% of your cap. It's a Gettleman-esque cap.
No, you know what we're actually looking like right now? We're starting to look like the mid-2000 Cowboys in salary situation. When they had Tony Romo and that fool was getting so much money, and they're like, oh, crap, it'll be great. The money's finally coming off the cap. So they're like, we have all this money. Uh-oh, they paid Zeke. Uh-oh, they paid Dak. Uh-oh, they had to restructure the left tackle. Uh-oh, they had to pay their corner. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Everybody's starting to get paid now.
Everyone's getting paid. And how many playoff wins did they have or appearances?
And now look at us. Here we go. And it's funny, Tim, because as much as I hate to say this, but I will give the the Eagles their due. They got their quarterback, right? So get that out. But everybody keeps talking about, oh, well, they're paying everybody. Look how flexible the cap is. I said, do people not realize they sold their soul to have their Super Bowl the next couple of years, basically? Because they're going to have no money once everybody starts getting paid. And their first-round picks, remember, all those top 10 picks and 20 picks they're getting, their contracts are due.
But Howie Roseman was very intelligent with this, and a lot of people don't understand this, that Jalen Hyatt's contract was extended his second-round deal. And is less than what Daniel Jones was going to make over the next two.
Yep. Smart move.
Built in that flexibility with their quarterback. They didn't just take it and give him all this money up front and then turn around and say, okay, well now he's going to count the $68 million as a dead cap number. So I don't like giving Howie any due because of what he does to the Giants every year. But that Jalen Hurts contract is in some ways a stroke of genius. We talked about the contract for Daniel Jones being a stroke of genius. The Jalen contract is truly a stroke of genius because if you look at it, the dead cap number is high, but the cap hit in 2024 is 13, 25 is 21, 26 is 31. He doesn't get over 45 until 2027. That contract literally is a stroke of genius.
Oh yeah, and we got the big Alcatraz over our neck.
Yeah, we're kind of sitting there right now. Look, but why I got you? Because I also got to drop someone else on too. Why I got you though? Who are you taking in the draft?
Oh, you come on, Big Timmy! Come on! You know I gotta go with JD, aka the Sun Devil, aka Let's Go Tigers. I'm putting in the work. I need a guy who can throw the ball without looking, which means that's JD, because his behind gonna be running for his life, and he gonna be chucking it like he did. What people don't realize, when he was with the Tigers, he had the most completions downfield. Holy guacamole! Who would have known, right? Who would have known?
Who would have known after his days in Arizona that he was going to turn out this way? I got someone on here right now that wants to say hello because of the fact that he is sitting there with a Josh Allen jersey on. And I think,
God!
I know it's a Josh Allen jersey. It's my man. It's my brother. It's Mr. State, James Williams with the beard. You know what, James? I got to tell you something. There's one thing I got to tell you. There was a protester. There was a protest in New York, and they were blocking the traffic. And this guy got out of the car to remove the protesters so he could get to work so he can go pick up his daughter. And I liked it because I saw the guy, and with the beard, for a half a second, I thought it was you.
I think I saw that clip. I saw that clip.
Wait a minute, James doesn't have a daughter. I was thinking to myself, James is moving protesters. I love it.
Yeah, I saw that clip. Somebody actually mentioned it. They was like, "Yo, you got kids?" And I was like, "No."
You look just like we got the big Don walking now.
That guy's doing a lot.
You got the whole experience. Well, it's funny because the next time I'll be free, I actually, if you will, Tim, have me on the draft show again. I'll actually have, I'll get to look good sitting down again.
No, you are always welcome on the draft show. You're always welcome on. You know that. You know that, big guy. But I'm going to drop you out for a minute because your audio is a little screwy right now. But I do
no problem.
man. Like you said, next time we have a stream during the week, if you're around, come on in.
Well, dude, y'all take it easy, man.
All right,
G-man.
Nice salute, bro.
I appreciate it, my friend. Big James. Let's run through some of these in the chat real quick here, because I got people going on the chat here. But then we're gonna get to Big James. I know you want to talk about something. I know you do. Mike Glenn also says, also we have to replace Slayton. No, Slayton's got one more year on his deal. Let's see.
We should keep him.
Yeah, Matthew says, where was Minnesota this year? Lol. Yeah, Chris says, we didn't need Barkley. We need to draft a running back and a right tackle, then move Neal to right guard. Matt says, the Beard says, Derrick Henry. I don't want Derrick Henry. Josh Jacobs, don't want Josh Jacobs. Pollard, don't want Pollard. Swift is not leaving Philadelphia. Pollard is okay. I don't think Devin Singletary is leaving Texans. So, yeah, and you're going to have to pay them more than you would pay Barkley. So why would we go that direction? Swing Culture TV, we were just talking about him today. I'm also with you on that pick. Everyone's with you on the pick. We got Big Greg saying James is in his house. James, you were sitting there. You're wearing a Josh Allen jersey.
Of course.
I'm not saying
he's actually playing this weekend.
You're wearing in a snowstorm, or maybe the snow is gonna. No, is he playing on? Is he playing? Did they move that game to Monday?
They moved it to tomorrow.
Yeah, I thought they moved it to Monday. So
yeah.
You were texting me earlier or yesterday. I can't remember what day it was. I think it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And you said to me, "I got to come on," because you had something you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And I said, "Of course." Don't forget to like, because James is going to pontificate now about something.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull a Carl Banks, but makes sense. First, hit that like button. Yo, real quick, because I love you and I look out for you, and we tell a lot of inappropriate jokes.
Oh,
but
God.
tomorrow being MLK Day, you cannot have a voodoo doll of Carl Banks up here and being a white man with your hand up his ass talking for him. You will get canceled for that one. I would laugh. T-Brown would laugh. Everybody in this chat would laugh. But you would get canceled, my man. Don't do that. I love you too much. I'd have to fight my own people for you. I don't want to do that. Because that would be hilarious. But oh, my God.
Yeah, I can't stream tomorrow.
So I just wanted to say that, because when you said that, I was sitting here and I was going, oh my God, did he just say that? You can't do that. As funny as that would be.
Now you know I have to do it.
No, I know.
You telling me not to do something? Oh, everyone always knows that with me. You tell me not to do something, now I gotta fucking do it.
I know.
It's just like now I got it in my mind. Now, great, James, good job. Now it's stuck in my head.
It would be funny though. It really would be.
Oh my God!
Live stream tomorrow.
Sorry.
You know what would happen? Because we're in such a soft age of society, he'd get wind of the video from one of your other YouTuber haters, and he'd be like, "I'm getting my lawyer team on that. He can't do that to me. He's misrepresenting Carl Banks."
Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. You know what's better, James? Why don't you do your Carl Banks impression?
Oh, hold on. Let me. Well, guys, we got playoff wild card weekend. Unfortunately, the Giants aren't in it, but we'll be back. Daniel Jones will be healthy. And hey, let's stop all the Kayvon Thibodeau slander. That guy, he's playing amazing. Come on, guys. Shout out to the 50th anniversary of hip hop.
I love how the fact that you make fun of my Carl Banks impression, but you're making Carl Banks out to be Bill Cosby.
Whoa.
I'm waiting for you to say, don't forget to try the gel the pudding.
Whoa. I'm not trying to do that. Whoa. As much as Carl gets on my nerves, I ain't trying to do that. And listen, I can do that. Much like I could still say Redskins.
Here we go. C. Sanders, Tim, got to do it.
He got it. He's going to do it. I'm just, as his black friend, he has many friends, T. Brad knows, but as one of his black brothers, I just have to send him the warning that I don't know. The day before MLK Day, you should be throwing that idea out there on the internet.
You threw it out there. I didn't throw it out there. I was sitting there going, I wasn't going to stream.
Woo.
I wasn't going to do anything. I got physical therapy in the morning. I got a roof guy coming. I got a lot of stuff going on before it snows on Tuesday. But now you got to step ahead, James. Way to go. Way to look out.
Sorry. Just saying. Sorry.
All right, so let's get back to football. What did you want to talk about? Tim can say it. Says Greg.
All right, real quick.
Greg is fine with it.
No, we give him the pass, but Greg, as you know, there's many other black people. They would take that the wrong way. But anyway. So a couple people, T-Brad, I think Hirsch, a couple people, you just mentioned it, how Caleb, seems to be dropping, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You know, even though we're months away from there. And I have a cousin I love very much. Shout out to Devin, DPG. He's out in Chicago. He moved out there a couple of years ago. And
does he subscribe to the channel?
Of course. He might be watching. That's why I said shout out.
All right.
But he knows, I'm an Ohio State fan, whatever. And he keeps me in tune with what, the people are saying out there in regards to Justin Fields and, just the team situation overall. And basically, I mean, we all know this by now because Black Monday already passed, unless something crazy happens. But the Bears seem to be keeping their coach.
Yep.
Who, if you don't know, he's a defensive first guy. He's a defensive coach. And again, you have to put on your thinking caps, kind of like our teachers used to tell us, put on your thinking caps, kids. Don't just believe what the TV tells you. And if you're going to keep that coach who's a defensive guy, are you really going to trust him in drafting a real quarterback talent like a Caleb and trusting him to develop that guy when he struggled to develop Fields? Or are you going to tell him, hey, I want you to work with Fields. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of pieces and tools this year because we have draft picks and things we can add to the team that we really need. And I want you to go
here. So you got actually
we can add another. He can add more. He can add into the line. They can add back to the defense. Like this, they can add a whole bunch of stuff to help Fields and that coach. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you think about it, do you really think the Bears are going to move off of Fields, draft Caleb, and trust this guy who doesn't seem to be the greatest offensive-minded coach, and trust that guy to develop Caleb? Or do we think that he's going to roll with Fields, and then maybe Caleb is going to drop? And then if Caleb drops, that means everybody else under him is going to drop, which probably means we have a higher chance of getting JD, a.k.a. the Sun Devil, a.k.a. the Louisiana Tiger, a.k.a. our hopes and dreams.
My thing is this:
just a conspiracy theory.
If you look at the draft, I personally think that they're going to run it back with Justin Fields. And I think they're either going to try to move off that pick. And if they don't get something that they want in reference to the amount of draft picks or players or whatever they need, they are probably good. If I'm Pittsburgh, if I'm Chicago and I'm at that pick and I roll it back with Fields, I either go alt or I go Marvin Harrison. Because of the fact that you still need a wide receiver, you still need offensive linemen. If you're going to keep Fields, the people talk about the Giants having the worst offensive line. The Bears have had the worst offensive line in 2 years. Hell, Alex Leatherwood last year was their starting left tackle at one point. I mean, so that's craziness in itself. And my theory is this: if they keep it and they either go Harrison or they go, they go alt or someone such as that. You figure the Commanders are taking a quarterback. I still think the Commanders.
Definitely.
I think the Commanders, for some reason, because I keep hearing the same rumors coming out that they love Drake May, and I am not 100% sold with the thought process that New England is going to go for a quarterback. Yes, they need a quarterback, but they need so many other things that they're going to be in a giant-esque rebuild. Arizona's not taking a quarterback.
Nope.
the Chargers aren't taking a quarterback. So potentially you could have Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels sitting right there at 6, or you could have Drake May, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels sitting at 6. The wild card is going to be this. Who's going to trade up? I figure Atlanta would be a situation to trade up at 8. So that would Giants' plans if that happened. The Jets aren't going to trade up. Minnesota has an opportunity. Minnesota's sitting at 11, even though they finished at 7-10. They still have Kirk Cousins. They potentially could trade up. Denver can trade up at 12. Excuse me, at 12. You have the Raiders at 13 that are still looking for a quarterback. You have the Saints at 14 that are looking for a quarterback. So, and then you're going to have Seattle at 16 that's looking for a quarterback as well. So you got a lot of guys in the lower half, not the lower half, but the lower part of the top of the draft from like 9 to 17, 16, who could potentially trade up into that number 1 overall position and really screw up the Giants' plans if their plan was to take a quarterback. But I think that
and the other thing, my fault, brother. But the other thing you keep alluding to is that the Giants can trade up. That's how you could do a trade. That's how we got the man, which I'm not going to say his name. You should know what I'm talking about. But
Deontay Banks.
That's how that. that's how that went down. And
Deontay Banks.
Yeah, right. Yeah. but I'm saying that we need to be aggressive here. And the only thing I think that's working against us is everybody outside of Giants community knows we need a quarterback. All the other executives, all the other teams probably the Giants need a quarterback. I don't care what that guy says. The Giants need a quarterback as Tim gets his continental breakfast passed to him from the sideline. Looking good.
Homemade sourdough waffles.
Oh, sourdough waffles. Sourdough is good, kids. Sourdough is good.
Sourdough is good for you.
But
not only good for you, but so is Magic Mind. Make sure you go out and get your Magic Mind. And don't forget to use Mint Mobile. And a new sponsor coming soon.
Oh, can't wait.
Partner.
But partner, not sponsor. But we can trade up. And judging by what our brother Tim just said, we need to trade up because I guarantee you one of those teams Tim just mentioned or somebody below us that needs a quarterback is going to trade up.
It's going to jump.
They're going to do it because that's what teams do. And if you pay attention to our draft history, we've gotten jumped like checkers the last couple of years and missed the guys we should have taken, and Micah and Devontae. So
we got triple jumped.
We can't let that happen with the quarterback. It's bad enough watching Devontae Smith catch passes for Jalen, watching Micah Parsons be a beast on defense in Dallas. We don't want the quarterback we want to get drafted somewhere else, and we're sitting there going, "Damn, we could have traded up to get that guy." There's no reason not to. There's really no reason not to. It's just a matter of if Shane's going to do it or not.
Davey asked a question. He goes, when you get 100K subscribers, where will you put your YouTube trophy? In the garbage. I don't fucking care. You know that, Davey. You know that, Davey? I got so much cooler shit than that. We're never hitting 100.
Seriously. No, but Tim actually has way cooler stuff behind him than to put a trophy just signaling his own greatness. We all know he's great.
I was actually going to say, I already know I'm awesome. I don't need a trophy from YouTube telling me that I'm awesome. Did I send you the picture yesterday that I upgraded the man cave?
Yeah. A lot of ill throwback stuff. Like you actually have like posters.
I upgrade. I didn't send it to you. That I was out shopping and I had to upgrade the man cave. And
you showed me some little stuff, but probably not what you're talking about.
No. I didn't send it. I actually and Tiffany. I mean everything's just. I had to upgrade the man cave. I'll have to send you the pictures so you can literally
copy
what I did, just because you'll get a kick out of it. You'll get a big kick out. Let's get a couple of Davis says, I know what you're thinking of. The Pits are going to take a Rubik's sandwich. She says, I hope. You know what's funny? Pittsburgh's in the playoffs. Nobody's talking about that.
Well, they have a great coach in Mike Tomlin. Look how that works.
Literally nobody's talking about that. Pittsburgh's in the playoffs.
They're playing.
I know, but can people just for a minute think about that for a second, that Pittsburgh, who at one point in time there was a thought process that he was not going to have his, he was not going to have, Tomlin was not going to have his season where he had, a winning record, that he wasn't going to make the playoffs. And all I keep thinking is all I do is win, win, win. That's all I ever think of with him right now.
Yo, that guy, we gotta, like, honestly, like, it's kind of amazing that Big Ben has been gone now for a few years, yet that guy just keeps on trucking. No, I don't think anybody believes in the quarterback is going to be great over there, but somehow, even with TJ Watt in and out the lineup, somehow.
But who is their starting quarterback?
It's going to be Mason, I think.
Oh, Rudolph Mason.
Mason Rudolph.
Rudolph, whatever his name is. Mason Rudolph is starting for Tomlin. I mean, does anyone not find that, like, just incredible that we talk about not having a quarterback? We talk about this. We talk about this. We talk about not having this. Pittsburgh doesn't have a quarterback. Pittsburgh's played like 4 different starting quarterbacks this year. And for some unknown reason, they're in the playoffs over and over again, and we're not in the playoffs.
Do you know what's important for a coach to be, other than just great with X's and O's like Mike McDaniels is in Miami? You know what you have to be? You got to inspire men, and you got to be a leader of men that other men want to follow. If men don't want to follow you into battle, you're going to lose a lot of wars. And Mike Tomlin appears to be a guy that no matter who's in there on his roster, and even when he jettisons talent, got rid of Antonio Brown.
Gets rid of talent.
Got rid of the running back that went to the Jets. Forgot his name. Can't think of it right now. Excuse me. But he jettisons talent, yet still keeps the train moving.
There's we got a question in reference to defensive coordinator who we would like to see. I know everyone's really big on this Denard. What's his name? Denard Wilson. He's been a coach in the league for about. He's been a defensive coach for like the last 9 years. He spent 2 seasons with the Eagles. He helped them to that Super Bowl. He had number 1 ranked pass defense. I mean, I want a guy with some experience. You have people like Kafka and still out there. And did we not learn from the mistakes of bringing in a guy with zero? Not that I'm not a fan of Antonio Pierce, but he has 1 year's experience as a defensive coordinator at Arizona State in college. Had to leave because of recruiting violations. We also think of the gun in the strip club and how he covered that up as well. So he's got a little red flags, Mr. Pierce. I likened it to the Wally Backman move when the Arizona Diamondbacks hired him as a manager, and then finally some things came out about it, and people are like, well, maybe this isn't a guy we should hire. And I'm not saying anything bad about Antonio Pierce. I don't know him personally. I'm just saying there are some of the stops that he has made, there's been some red flags. And he's only got 1 year experience as a defensive coordinator in college. So, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. There's a guy that I'm like, hey, and I can't think of a guy off the top of my head that I would think would, that would be perfect for the Giants. I think the Giants are going to go with a guy without more experience because of the fact that Dable does not want people challenging him. You can't do like you can't do a Dan Quinn. You can't do a Wink again. Someone like a Wink. You can't do a Patrick Graham. Or maybe a Patrick Graham. I think it's going to be Leslie Frazier.
I know. You, as I sit in this Bills jersey, it just cringed when you said that name. You just hit on the point I was going to make. Forget all the experience and all that stuff. Simple relationship. If Wink and Dable were bumping heads, what do you think Antonio Pierce and Dable are going to do? Does Antonio Pierce look like the kind of guy that's going to come in and go, yes, sir, thank you, sir, yes, sir, whatever you want, sir. No, I have no suggestions. Yes, sir, I would do whatever you want. Does he look like that kind of guy?
Pierce is going to use. I mean, if I would use my cachet as a Giant legend, I have to. I'd say something real quick. Someone sent me a private message. I have no problem with Carl Banks. We're having fun.
Oh God!
On my computer is an autographed Carl Banks helmet.
Here we go. That's why you can't do the voodoo doll.
No, nothing about the voodoo doll. Just saying that. Carl Banks. I love Carl Banks. I've told the story that I met Carl Banks in 1987 at the Super Bowl in Pasadena at the hotel, coming out of the elevator because I was able to go to that Super Bowl. Yes, and it wasn't 87 because of the fact that they played Super Bowl in January. Because someone says it wasn't in 87. Yes, it was 86 Super Bowls. It's always 1 year later. I know. I just sometimes people. I met him in the elevator in the team hotel, and I always told the story that he literally, I was still in high school, and I asked him, as a player, I said, could you give me advice? And I've told the story before. He gave me some wonderful advice as a linebacker, and it was a great experience, and I've always remembered that. And it was funny though because I got this helmet signed, I don't know, probably like 10, 15 years ago, and I always have it on my computer on my desk. So I don't have a problem with Carl Banks. I'm just having fun.
Tim, hold on. Stop.
Fun.
This is
fun.
Stop. Brother, stop. This is why you have people like me, T. Brad, others that come on, everybody in the chat that hit that like button, by the way, everybody in the chat that loves and supports you. This is why you have us here. Let the cult defend you.
No.
Let me put it very simple. Let me put it very simple, guys.
Let me stop you right here. When the cult defends me, it's worse. Because there are people who I love that go on other channels and are venomous about me. You're one of them. And I love it because all the shit backfires on me. And it's like, I'm like,
I know. I feel sometimes
why you at me now?
I know. Sometimes I think about that, but you're a big boy. You can handle it.
I think it's funny as shit, though.
But let me put it to y'all like this. Tiki Barber and Carl Blanks, the player. We love them. We appreciated them, right? The player. Tiki Barber and Carl Banks, the analyst? Really? Why can't we separate what somebody did on the field versus their career after the field? Because it's two different phases. Everybody who was a great player is not going to be a great coach. Everybody who's a great player is not going to be great on TV or even doing the podcasting, which everybody and their dog seems to have now. So, it's like, so it's like Carl Banks, the player, legend, Giants legend. You love him. Carl Banks, the analyst, who wants to sit up there and argue with guys on WFAN about how great Casper, the friendly pass rusher, is. Sorry. You got to call a spade a spade. Tiki Barber, the player, after he stopped his fumbling problems, love him, appreciate him. But Tiki Barber, the analyst, who a year after retiring said Eli Manning is not the guy and the Giants should move on from him, and then had to watch that guy win a Super Bowl.
It's the one thing that people forget about the Tiki Barber the year after. The Tiki Barber, credited Tom Coughlin fixing his fumbling problems, credited him during the season, credited him during the end of his career. Then he became an analyst, and Eli Manning sucked, and Tom Coughlin was not the reason that his fumbling problems got fixed. And then he went back on that a couple years later when everyone turned venomous against him. RDF's got a good question. What do you think it would cost to move up to the first overall if you truly love Jaden Daniels? 2 firsts and a second and a fourth. If I'm going to number 1, I'm taking Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Jaden Daniels. I'm taking Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, for all of what people can perceive as faults, his diva-esque attitude, I've said it before, I'll say it a million times. I would rather have an asshole wearing Lee press-on nails throwing that rock if he knew how to read defenses and could actually look downfield. I don't care. He wants to be a diva, let him be a diva. He wants part of the franchise, give him part of the franchise. I want an Eli Manning moment where I have a quarterback for 15 years and I don't have to worry about it again. I'm not saying that's going to be Caleb because you never know, even with the first overall pick. But if you're going to go strictly on talent and strictly on ability, I think Caleb is above Jaden. I think he's above Drake May. I think he's above, JJ. I think he's above Penix. I would have to go that way. I would go from 6 to 1. The Mitchell Trubisky trade.
I'd give up a lot.
The Mitchell Trubisky trade to me it should not be the benchmark because I know the Bears are going to try to get what they can. And would I do 2 number 1s? Yes. Would I give up one of the extra seconds that we have? We have 2 second-round picks. Don't we have 2 second-round picks this year?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I would give up if I remember correctly. Then I would give up I would give up 2 number 1s. I would give up a second this year, and maybe I would give up a 4 and a 7 next year. You got to spend money to make money, baby. To move up those 5 spots. I think that I would do. Someone also just IM'd about Leslie Frazier. Leslie Frazier, 67 years old. People think that he wants a head coaching position. He took a year off. We talked about this before. You want to talk about the 2 years that he had in Buffalo, but nobody wants to talk about the fact that McDermott almost fired him that second year because of the fact that his defense was giving up bunches and bunches of points at a certain period of time. He had failed in Tampa, Minnesota, and I can't remember the other place that he was a defensive coordinator where he had a failed stop. But he got fired by Marvin Lewis over with the Bengals. So
which is crazy.
His pedigree for being a great DC is the 2 years in Pittsburgh, and the 1 year he was the head coach, and they went 10-6 in Minnesota, then got fired the next year. And then his defense in Cincinnati, the first year was ranked 28th, and then it went up to 19th. And then he got fired by Marvin Lewis, who was a defensive coach. And then he had 2 terrible defenses in Tampa, where Tampa, I think he had 3 wins that 1 year. Then they went 6-10 the next year. And the Bengals, in Minnesota, he didn't have a great defense either. But he literally, we got a snow squall. National emergency snow is going to be delaying travel. Near zero visibility and icy roads and heavy snow at 11:45.
Get your snow sleds and snow dogs ready.
Wapa. I got a Jeep. Fine. We're all good. So it's not like he's had this massive amounts of success outside of 2 years in Buffalo. But I think, like I said, I'm not calling it saying I'm saying I think he is a yes man for Dable because of the fact that he is not going to rock the boat. He's not going to step out of line. He's not going to do anything that Wink would do. And he's the perfect guy for Dable because he's basically just going to do what the head coach tells him to do. He's got a track record of it. It's nothing bad. Some people, sometimes you get along to go along. So, it's fine.
But what about the idea that, everything you said, cool. I'm going to take the other side of it. That what does it say about us that one of the main candidates for the DC is a guy who's almost 70 years old, who took a year off, who's really honestly maybe middle of the pack defensive coordinator. He's not like up there with like a Spags. No, he's not the worst. He's not the worst, but I just like, what does that say about us? Like, we're not, excuse me, y'all, we're not that attractive right now. Wink, you get rid of, not get rid of. He walked out the door on his own. We didn't get rid of him. He left us in Wink. And now we're talking about hiring this 70-year-old guy that couldn't play defense for 7 seconds for my man right here, White Vic. Really? Because that's the last image I have of Leslie Frazier is 7 seconds. That's all I think about. 7 seconds.
People don't want to talk about that. People don't want to talk about that.
We have a young defense that needs to develop. You think Leslie Frazier, not you, Tim, and not even anybody in the chat, but just we think Leslie Frazier is going to get the best out of Casper? I don't think so.
And to Carmen, the new, and this kind of goes back to them hiring the guy from the Raiders, the offensive line coach.
Right.
A guy that doesn't have a lot of experience in the pros in reference to being an offensive line coach, does not have a lot of high quality stops. According to the venerable Pro Football Focus, the Las Vegas line was ranked 22nd in the league. Their what's his name? Miller was their best. Their left tackle was their best tackle. Was their best player. And then they kind of had what's his name? I forget the guy's name. Van something, Van Rotten or something like that. I can't remember his name. But it's not like they had this wonderful, great offensive line. It's not like it was Mark Colombo. We've talked about this, but he's a guy that has limited experience. That and this is kind of the thing I always talk about the red flags with Dable. I don't think he can have anyone in the building that's going to question him. So what's the best way to get around that? You bring in guys with limited experience or guys that are more towards the tail end of it, almost 70, more towards the tail end of their career, who have a propensity of maybe not being the best, but guys that won't rock the boat, won't say anything different, won't question things. They will just go along with the philosophy. And I think at the end of the day, that's the kind of guys we're hiring. And to your point, what does that say about our franchise? That, you know what, I will give Joe Judge credit for something.
Oh,
watch this. I'm going to give Joe Judge credit for something. Mark Colombo was running his mouth, was doing shit in the building that he wasn't supposed to be doing. Judge got wind of this. And instead of pussyfooting around, waiting until the end of the season, not saying anything, what did he do? He fired Colombo mid-season. He manned up. And this is the only nice thing I will say about Joe Judge. He manned up, he sacked up, and he fired Colombo immediately. He didn't sit there and have his little pity parties. He didn't sit there and, oh, woe is me. He didn't sit there and leak information to the press so you can make Wink look bad. He didn't do all that. That's what the Giants did. Let's be honest. All the information came out about him calling Dable a mother effer and all that was given to us by a beat writer who we all know is inside contact for the Giants.
But they've been doing that with the players too. Golden Tate, anytime somebody speaks out, little stuff all of a sudden comes out about their character.
All of a sudden gets leaked. And I will give Judge credit for this. Judge said Colombo isn't doing his job. Judge said Colombo is running his mouth behind my back. It's fucking gone. It's fired.
True.
And that's the only nice thing I will say about Joe Judge, except for the fact that I love when Dalvin Tomlinson shot him in the face with a hose.
Yeah, that was funny. But also like having, first of all, if you're a real man and you're comfortable in who you are as a man, you don't want a bunch of yes people around you. You want people who are going to bring something to the table and we can shoot ideas back and forth across. Even if we don't agree all the time, maybe we'll find a middle ground. And your suggestion may be something I wasn't thinking about. I don't understand this thing of look at the Patriots. Bill Belichick is arguably the greatest coach of all time. When Tom Brady left and he had all those guys, he brought back Joe Judge. He had Patricia. He had a whole bunch of yes men around him. How did that work out?
He got fired. Oh, he got technically quit. Here's the picture I forgot to send you yesterday. I found it. I added to the man cave. Talk about being manly. So I added to the man cave. So I now have John
Hondo.
I actually do have Hondo, John Wayne, standing behind Bigfoot, standing behind the mariachi bartender, next to the animatronic Elvis talking head. Yes, my man cave is kind of
my grandfather. He's 92 years old, still kicking. God bless him. I love him very much. He got me into westerns, and he used to always watch John Wayne and oh my God, it was this show. I think it was Wells Fargo about the bank. It was Wells Fargo, and there was another one in black and white. It was this tall white dude. Looks like a older version of Reacher. I can't think of the show's name. It'll come to me in a second. But
Gunsmoke.
He got me. I think it was Gunsmoke. Definitely, of course. Everybody knows Gunsmoke. There was another one. Damn it, can't think of it. But he was really tall.
With the guy that looked like the guy, what's his name?
Yeah, like the really broad shoulders.
The guy that plays the sheriff looks like Jack Reed. It looks like Jack Reed.
Yeah, okay, so it's probably the guy. But he got me into westerns, and I still love him to this day, even though they don't really make them that much anymore. But shout out to my grandfather for getting me into westerns. And
shout out to the grandfather. Make sure you go watch She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. Very great John Wayne movie. One of my favorites. Older John Wayne movie. It was actually my father loved John Wayne. That was She Wore a Yellow Ribbon was in 1949 that came out. That and if you want a good war movie, you gotta go. Any John Wayne movie that he made was because John Wayne was always a Marine. Sans Iwo Jima. Great movie. Sans Iwo Jima, great movie. We're going to watch another John Wayne movie. Davey said Mason Rudolph is the red-nosed reindeer. Chris said Tom is an example of what great coaches can achieve. Wish we had him. Yeah. Pittsburgh's ownership is better than decision-making. And you know what's funny, though? Here's the thing about Pittsburgh's ownership. Pittsburgh, to your point, James, they get rid of guys. They get rid of guys. They get rid of guys that maybe have a year left. They get rid of guys that are somewhat malcontents that have a lot of years left. They get rid of guys because they go with an organizational philosophy. And the Giants used to do it. We talked about this. The Giants in the 80s and the 90s under George Young, they basically forced Lawrence Taylor to retire. They got rid of Carl Banks when they thought he was at the end of his career. They got rid of Leonard Marshall. They got rid of Jim Burt to replace him with Eric Howard, even though Burt went on to San Francisco and had a career. Phil Simms took the Giants to a playoffs and went to a Pro Bowl, and they got rid of him the next year because he had a torn shoulder, but then he would have been fine for training camp. They got rid of Joe Morris when they thought that he was at the end of his career. They let Mark Bavaro walk because he thought he was going to be an injury liability, even though he went on to play for Cleveland and Philadelphia for a bunch of years. They used to do that, the Giants. The Giants used to be basically, okay, we're going to replace you in the draft, and we are going to, when your perceived usefulness or your perception of you just don't have what we need, they would get rid of. They got rid of you. Parcells didn't have a problem. Like I said, we talk about Carl Banks. They got rid of Carl Banks. He went to Cleveland and Washington.
Hey,
they got rid of Phil Simms, MVP, Super Bowl MVP quarterback. Got rid of him because of the fact that he was no longer the guy. They got, they basically forced Lawrence Taylor to retire.
You could go even later. Hakeem Nicks, Steve Smith, Jeremy Shockey. All these guys who were good, talented on our teams, but once the Giants felt like you're either a little bit of a malcontent or we feel like you're reaching that point where your skills are going to start diminishing, and let them go. And what did those guys become after leaving here? Most of them, not too much. Shockey did win a ring with Breeze in New Orleans, but out of all those guys you mentioned, who left the Giants and actually went on to have a career other than Shockey?
And Shockey only really had one good season in Carolina. He didn't have a great season when they went to the Super Bowl. He didn't. He didn't have a great season, but he had a good season with Greg Olson in Carolina. He did have a very good. Davey says if Carl Banks comes with a ring and gets on one knee and says yes, do you love him that much? I love Carl Banks because I just gotta remember we don't make fun of people here. We're not making fun of people. We are having
having fun.
The only person that we make fun of.
Hey kids, look over there. Who is it? It's Kayvon, the friendly pass rusher. Oh no, now he's gone.
That is so perfect a drop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry because hold up. I spit out my coffee. You got to do it again. When you did the whole, he's blocking me. I didn't know Jalen could block like this. I literally spit out my coffee across the room because watching that in real time, y'all, that is a quarterback, y'all. That is a quarterback, y'all. That is a quarterback. That is a quarterback. I'm just going to keep saying it. And he's not the biggest guy in the world either. He's not Mahomes size. He's not Big Ben. He's not. That is a quarterback.
He can't get around me. I can't get around. No,
I'm telling you. He was like,
the two guys don't want to fight. Working as many clubs that I did as a bouncer and everything, you always had the two guys that don't want. They're going to fight and they're going to chest off. They're going to peacock it, but then they get out there.
Oh God, it's like, man,
it's literally Kayvon getting blocked. I can't get around him. What is he doing?
That's what it was though. If we had to play in real time, that's what it was. And then the other thing he does is he does the Superman. I almost got there, folks. Next time I'll save your son. God, I don't know, man.
So
I don't know, man.
Mr. Authentic in his house. If you don't know Mr.
Authentic, what up, brother?
Everyone does. Go watch Authentic and the Beard. They do Giant stuff. They do Reds. I'm going to say it. Redskin stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, no, his man, the Beard, has been a big Redskins fan. He gives good insight. Beard gives good insight into the Washington behind the scenes. In case you guys want to know about one of our rivals.
Behind the scenes, we got Dave who says you may not have attractive, you may not that attractive, but Tim, I are Gen X, we are the bomb. Well, Gen X, we are the bomb, and I'm sorry, I'm not attractive. I'm dead sexy. There's a big difference. C. Sanders says Carl Banks will be the next DC. He's going to develop tips. Listen, if you want to develop Tibbs, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I think that, and we're not saying that Kayvon is a bust. And I think that's the issue.
No, it's way too early for that. Way too early.
It's way too early but you want to point out the 11, which is fine. You want to point out the 11 and a half sacks. I'm going to point out the 0 sacks against the Eagles, the Rams, the Eagles, and the Saints, and the half a sack against the Packers and the Patriots. And I'm going to tell you that a majority of the sacks came in 3 games. I'm also going to point out the 0 sacks against the Raiders, the 0 sacks against the Bills, the 0 sacks against the Cardinals, and the 0 sacks against the Cowboys. And you want to talk about the 2 sacks that he had against Seattle. James and I were at that game. He had one at the very beginning of the game, and he had one at literally with 60 seconds left.
Yeah, it was literally like a minute or like under 2 minutes, and then he got another one, and it was like, oh, there he is.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta look at it that way, and it's not. We're not sitting there saying that he's not going to be a bust or a pro, but we're a great pro. We're just saying don't put him in the likes of Michael Strahan. I've said it before. You know what he had, and people don't like when I say this. He had a Marcus Golden season. When Marcus Golden had 10.5 sacks like 4 or 5 years ago, he had him in bunches, and then he disappeared.
Yeah.
And to Kayvon's detriment, I don't know if he's big enough to play defensive end. He's not quick enough to play linebacker. He doesn't have the coverage skills. He's not Aiden Hutchinson with the ability to drop into coverage.
I don't think he's smart enough.
I don't think. I'm not going to say he's not smart enough. I'm not going to go there.
No, I am, because I've watched him. I've watched him.
We've said this before. He's a tweener. You don't know exactly what he is going to be. He's somewhere in between positions. I personally think he should play with his hand in the dirt. I think you go to a 4-3. You get a strong linebacker on his side to help him maintain his assignment and maintain his edge against the run, and allow him do what he does. But he's not a Strahan against playing the run. He's not a Humaniora. He is not a Justin Tuck. Hell, he's not a Matthias Kiwanuka against the run.
He's not even a Chase Blackburn against the run.
When he understands, and we pointed this out a million times, and it's funny because you and I were talking about this, I think at the game, and he actually literally did it. When he cuts his rush to the inside, he's more effective. His biggest issue in a lot of those games early, and there was a lot of those games where people were questioning him early in the season, is he was cutting his rush to the outside, and the tackle was just pushing him to the sideline. When he figured out to cut the rush to the inside, and we watched him do it, he got pressure on the quarterback.
He did. And honestly, 90% of his rushes go to the outside. The few times where he does cut it in, he either gets there or he almost deserves, like, he's a lot more effective cutting it inside. I mean, there's literally plays where he's pushed off the screen. Off the damn screen.
You and I were at the Seattle game. We were sitting in the 20-something row on the 50-yard line. And I remember one of the plays, because you even mentioned it when you weren't yelling at people. I remember one of the plays, he literally, and you pointed out, he literally got pushed by the tackle almost to the sideline.
Yo, it was crazy.
And you even you were screaming at him. You were screaming at one point, cut it inside. But he's only he's going to be in his 3rd year, and that's, that's what we got to look at.
We have to stop overvaluing our players. When we do that, then we'll get back to a sense of logic and just good football. That's all we've been doing. Saquon Barkley, who's actually good, he's actually not that important. Daniel Jones, who's not that good, he's great, and we have to keep him. Darius Slayton, who's been our best wide receiver over the last 4 years. I'm not saying he's Randy Moss, but he's been our best wide receiver the best 4 years. He sucks. We need to get rid of him.
He is.
Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be JPP squared. No, he's not. It's like we have to stop overvaluing and devaluing our players. Like you said, we're doing the tweener thing where it's like we push a guy up too high or we push him down too low. We don't ever just say what it is with a guy. Just say what he is.
everyone forgets early in the season. I don't want to keep picking on Kayvon, but everyone forgets early in the season. He basically came out and said that the fans don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yes, I know.
Everyone wants to talk about Evan Neal and the flipping burger comment, but everyone forgets the Kayvon Thibodeau comment. Then Kayvon Thibodeau goes on a little bit of a run, gets multitudes of sacks in 3-4 games, then disappears, and then everyone forgets what he said at the beginning of the season, but everyone remembers what Evan Neal said, even though Evan Neal only gave up 2 sacks and I believe 3 we talked about it, right? 4 quarterback hits.
Yeah.
Not that Evan Neal was great at all by any stretch of the imagination, but Evan Neal is not this boisterous player that New York fans love because remember when Kayvon was getting a sack a game? Does anyone remember those comments? No one held them to those comments. But you're going to sit there and to Evan Neal's point, and like I said, Evan Neal's play has been atrocious at times. But Evan Neal said it best. I could have 45 plays in a game. 3 of them could be bad, but no one's going to talk about the other 42. And he was right. He shouldn't have followed up with the things that he followed up with, but he was right.
Athletes are so sensitive.
Justin Pugh. We love talking about Justin Pugh. Justin Pugh allegedly solidified the line
from the couch.
From the couch. And like I said, his biggest fame was the fact that he talked about, we've said it before, Justin Pugh off the couch. That was his big claim to fame. But no one talks in how he solidified the line. He gave up the most amount of sacks at his position at 8 in 763 plays. He had 5 penalties. He gave up 37 quarterback pressures allowed, 2 quarterback hits, and he played 527 snaps at left guard and another 236 at left tackle. But somehow he solidified the line by giving up 8 sacks and 36 quarterback pressures. But we like Justin Pugh.
That's how bad.
We like Justin Pugh because he had a soundbite. Not the way he played, not the fact that he almost got Tyrod and Tommy killed. We liked him because he was a soundbite.
That's where we are, though, and in our fandom, that we're so excited that a guy got on national TV and said something cool. Said something cool, man. We look cool, man. We look cool, man.
We do look cool.
But it's like the Kayvon thing. Kayvon's the same thing. When you took me, you were so gracious enough to bring me to the rookie posium. I don't know the proper name for it, but the rookie posium we went to in Manhattan. Kayvon, who was that? The technical.
I forget whatever the hell that was called.
Yeah, whatever it was. But
I asked Daniel Jones a question. You called me an asshole.
No, I didn't. The whole crowd did. I said you were stupid for doing that, but the whole crowd told you to get it. That wasn't me.
Should we play that video?
The girl said, "He's not a fan." Boo! But Kayvon, he's up there. He's got the fresh braids. He's got the sunglasses. He's got the tight pants. Because guys wear tight pants now. That's how you're cool. And it's like, I just like, if you look at his persona. Yes, yes. Oh, look at that guy. Look at that is hilarious. That is hilarious. But there you go. That's our brain trust. That's our coach. It's our owner. It's our GM. And our radio voice. Word minus Carl.
Yes.
But so some of the we're in love with things on this team. We love players on this team. I sent you a thing yesterday from a Giants YouTuber. Well, I'm not going to kill him because he doesn't really, he doesn't jump out the window like some of these other fools. But he jumped out the window a little yesterday, and he's like, I'm a big fan of Daniel Jones. I love Daniel Jones. I wish him the best. But he hasn't been that good. He hasn't been consistent. He doesn't lift the team up. He doesn't make guys around him better, and we haven't won. And I'm sitting there going, well, goddamn, why do you like the guy? Like what? It's just like what? People have just latched on to certain players, and it's like, why? Because he puts on the jersey. I get it. But if you put on the jersey and you suck, then why would I continue to love you and support you? Just like the Kayvon thing. We're not calling him a bust. We're not riding him really. But at the same time, the first year you saw Micah Parsons play, you said, damn, that guy's going to be good. The first year we seen JPP play, we said, he seems raw and he needs some schooling, but that guy's got a motor. Kayvon?
I got to get to, or I'm not going to keep picking on Kayvon because I want to get to the chat real quick because I do have to get out of here.
Yeah.
I got some stuff I got to do before the snowstorm hits or the snow squall.
Oh,
but,
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, you know where I live. But I do want to point something out though, and I'm not big on asking for apologies for people.
No,
but all the people that booed me for the Daniel Jones question, was I wrong?
Oh, come on.
Was I wrong?
Come on. They just you're picking on Danny. Stop it.
But was I literally wrong? And the question
No.
I asked, and was I wrong on the fact that I'm gonna have to find the clip and play it. With the answer that he gave, we broke down the video. And what freaked me out on the video was I talked about this with you and a bunch of people when we played the video, because we played the video before. I'll have to play the video again. If you watch in the video, when I'm asking, and it wasn't even I didn't even ask him a tough question. Oh, it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't a tough question. It was basically
listen, he went to Duke. He should be able to handle it.
He should have been able to handle that question. Immediately after I asked that question, he literally crossed his hands, was basically hugging himself, doing this. And I said to you that night, and I said to people the next day when I put up the video, I am worried that our franchise quarterback who just signed this huge contract could not take a question from me. And I told people who I was right before I even.
Yes, you did. Foolishly, you did.
No foolishness, no fear. Tell people who I was, because I wasn't going to be up there and just be like, I'm just going to ask the question. But he was literally started hugging himself, rocking back and forth. And I said to you right then and there, I am concerned that if he can't handle the pressure of this question at this event, town hall. It was the town hall.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I was concerned that how is he going to handle the media pressure and the ability to have to, to perform on the field when you signed yes, I understand 90-something million really only contract, but you signed a $160 million contract. How are you going to handle the pressure of that and the media in New York and the play that you're going to have to perceive to have with that price tag if you can't handle the question I just asked you? And that was the first thing I asked James when I got back to my seat after I was booed and called some very mean things. And then I told you at the rookie symposium, I'm standing there in the line to talk to JMS, and these three guys behind me are like, "That's the guy.
That's the guy."
And Big Ellis next to me, and he goes, "That's the guy that asked Daniel Jones the question."
Oh my god! Yes, but it's funny about what you just said. How many hard questions do we remember Daniel Jones even being asked?
Oh, what
that? I'm just mean in his career. Like, we're in New York. We're supposed to ask real tough questions here and pull no punches.
He's got some questions recently, especially about the fact that, about drafting his replacement and all that. So he's gotten some tough questions now. But I'm saying I asked not a softball question, but I asked a fairly easy question. And and like I said, my wife's big into reading body language and all that stuff. She was the first one that, even when I showed her the video, she's like, "Why is he hugging himself, rocking back and forward?"
He's his nervous tick.
She goes, he's self-soothing. And I was like, that's deep, man. Let's get to a couple of these questions real quick, and we're going to get out of here.
Oh my god.
Zach says Kayvon needs to be more consistent. Big Greg says Kayvon needs to turn that dog switch on. I agree 100%. Douglas says Wink system may have been friendly to edge rushers, but they don't make it on that excuse. Tibbs always play your best. I agree. Oh my god, what a good comp. What?
What a good something you said that was smart.
That doesn't happen. We got Mr. Thanks that Kayvon is not good against the run, not aggressive in the pass rush. No, he's not.
He's not, brother.
You point that out here, you get destroyed. Oh my God. Let's see. CJ Stroud once again proves a quarterback can and has still do and always change the franchise 1000%. I'm getting annoyed with the Pew on Twitter too. I really am. Like I said, let's see. Eli Manning worked out. Lamar Jackson worked out. Josh Allen worked out. Patrick Mahomes worked out. Michael Vick worked out. Hell, Joe Flacco won them a Super Bowl. They traded.
You got to stay out the Bermuda Triangle of logic. You got to stay out of there.
Yes.
Bad.
OG said, if Rex Ryan, Rex Ryan, a defensive coordinator pick. Also, who I haven't seen in a while, Blackbird McKnight. His birthday was on Friday, so happy birthday to Blackbird. Let's see.
Happy birthday, brother.
Let's see here. Made by Giants. I have zero faith that Joe Schoen will make the right move. He's terrible. He might be the worst in Dave Gellum. We talked about that in the salary cap. Let's see here. Is there anything else I want to get to real quick? Anyone that I missed that I didn't get a comment? Dom D says, I remember that video. Everyone started whining as soon as you said you were a Jones critic.
They did.
I got booed.
I was at a Giants symposium where they're all season ticket holders, y'all. They're season ticket holders. They're all there. They spend their money to watch this, and they started booing this man. My God.
It was even worse when I went back to my seat. I think you moved. I got back to the seat. Where the fuck is James? Go, man.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
People always tell me, thank God you're not a small guy. Online Big Blue, props to asking Daniel Jones a question that's tough as ask question while the other people were booing because they didn't have the balls. I'm not going to say that, but thank you though. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was just one of those.
No, they were just homers. They weren't, they just happy, just so happy to be here.
Let's just say, Tim, what do you think about Denard Wilson as a Giants defensive coordinator? We talked about Denard Wilson. Denard Wilson, of course, has been he's been a defensive coordinator now for what? Not defensive coordinator. He's been a coach for about 12 years. He's been 9 as a defensive back coach. He was with the Ravens. He spent 2 seasons with the Eagles. He helped them get to the #1 pass defense, gets a Super Bowl. Some people are crediting him with the Kyle Hamilton turnaround, making him a first-team All-Pro. I think he's a guy that, again, I don't want to go for a guy that just doesn't have the experience because we've already watched this with Kafka. I need someone that's got a little bit of a cachet, a little bit of experience, and is going to be able to, at least have some experience as a defensive coordinator. Not that not spending 12 years as a coach is, is a slouch, but 9 of them were as a defensive backs coach. And have you set up a defensive game plan before besides the secondary? What have you done beyond that? And I think the Giants used to be a destination, for coaches. And now we're like, well, we can get a guy that's been in the league for 12 years, 9 as a defensive back coach. People used to fight to want to come to New York. Now it's like, we got to get a guy.
Seriously.
Like I said, I think we're going to get either a yes man in regards, and I don't mean that as a bad way, in regards to someone like Leslie Frazier. Leslie Frazier to me is not going to rock the boat, or we're going to get someone young that Dable can control. That's what I think.
I think it's going to be Frazier. I don't think they're going to go with a guy too young, because the young guy, a young guy may come in there and be like, hey, I got some suggestions. Like, hey, the stuff you guys been doing kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. They're going to hire who they're going to hire. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It doesn't matter to me. It does. And I love this. Chris says, once you hire a guy with no corner, Steve Spagnuolo, you know what the problem with Spagnuolo was? Spagnuolo almost got himself fired. And honestly, if you look outside of NASCAR and some of the other things that Spagnuolo has done, he's not had the greatest defenses in Kansas City. Kansas City's winning because of Patrick Mahomes, not because of Spagnuolo.
Yeah, this is the first year you could really say the defense has probably carried the offense
up a little bit. Yes, and like I said, Spags. Like I said, I love Spags, but even in the second stint with the Giants, didn't have a good. I always like I said, if you wanted to bring somebody back, and I don't think he would come back because he left the Giants to take a parallel job with the Raiders, I would still bring back Patrick Graham.
I would, but I want to start anew. I would rather see a fresh face in here, not a retread. That's why, even like if you said, if they went with a young guy, even though he'll be a yes man under Dable, I'd rather go with that than Leslie Frazier. Even though Frazier is older, he has more experience. I would rather go with somebody that maybe he'll hopefully bring something new to the table.
All right. Well, you know what, guys? I appreciate it for hanging in for a long time. We had a really good chat again once today. At one point we had over 100 something people in here. So it's always nice when we get a lot of good group. Got a lot of new people coming in. I also want to thank Mr. Authentic for dropping in as well. Make sure you go see Authentic and the Beard.
That's your assignment.
That's our assignment. But you know what? I hit the wrong button. All right, everyone. We are going to cruise on out of here. This is Tim. This is James. This is New York Giants Race, hired by Online Big Blue LC. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. You know what, everyone? As always, appreciate it. We're out of here.